Boxing games have been some of the best games to come out, although there has been a little drought in the genre. Although with the new game Undisputed that came out, I wanted to talk about my favorite boxing game and game in general, that being
FaceBreaker K.O Party. FaceBreaker.
but not any FaceBreaker, FaceBreaker K.O Party. What's the difference? FaceBreaker came out on Xbox 360 and PS3. You play with a controller, right? Button mashing, whatever. FaceBreaker K.O Party came out on the Nintendo Wii, which uses, of course, the feature of the nunchucks and the Wii remote, where you actually have to, although not swing like an actual boxer, like I thought I had to, you still have to do some movement. Of course, the game came out 2008, and to some, it's a great game. To others, not so much. But of course, like I said, it was one of my favorite games, and for what reason? It was just a lot of fun. Look at like in the gameplay, as you see on the video. It's a lot of hitting people in the air, a lot of action going on, a lot of stuff to stimulate a kid's brain, right? And of course, the characters, although there are some stereotypes, because it was 2008, no excuses, but let's go through them. Of course, you have Ice from Philadelphia, US of A. Very nice. And then you got Romeo from Spain. He is the first stereotype because he's from Spain. And of course, he's a lover, right? He's a romanticizer. And then you got the Hawaiian surfer from Hawaii, US. Of course, he is the other stereotype. He's a Hawaiian that loves to surf and, talks in a certain way. Yo, man, totally tubular. Type of stuff. And you got Kiriko, Japanese, from Osaka, Japan. And I don't know if this is a stereotype because I have not seen a lot of Japanese stereotypes. But of course, it's one of the girly girls. And then of course, you got her opposite, Sparrow, who's from the UK. And of course, is a tomboy, masculine woman. Very nice. As you can tell, a lot of these characters, they look cool. A lot of them have some, I don't know. But of course, we got another somewhat stereotype, Molotov, the Russian guy with bombs, and although his name is Molotov, his gameplay has nothing to do with fire. But we'll talk about that later. And of course, you get to these characters. Oh, and another one is Spin, which is a really cool, interesting character, which I'll get to later, but is also from the UK, and he's a DJ. Very nice. And of course, you got the 4 characters. That was the baseline game, and then you came with 4 unlockable characters. Who are those characters? Those are the bosses in the campaign mode, Brawl for It All. It's a game mode where you go through different, rings, fighting all the people, and of course beating the champion, which is the boss. And after beating him, you win his arena and himself, as the bundle pack. And of course, the bosses in order come in way of Steve, the fat nerd. So that guy is also stereotype. He's also I think he's from San Diego, US of A. Next one, you got Voodoo, who is a dude from Africa. Take that as you will. And of course, he does voodoo. Next one is Brick, who is not the sharpest tool in the shed. As you can clearly tell. From his description, where was he born? Hospital. I would assume the United States, but yeah, he's most likely from the United States. And of course, you got the insane person, Sock. He is the other boss. And you got a monkey. His name is Tiki. And I think he's also from the US because I haven't unlocked him yet, so, Although I may unlock him in the gameplay, though. So, of course, all these come from different parts of the world. Now, obviously, you got the United States, UK, Russia, Japan. I think that's it. Africa, how could I forget Voodoo? Voodoo is one of my favorite characters also. And why? It's because they're not only do they have, their own backgrounds and all that stuff and special abilities, they also have a unique gameplay. A lot of them just have lights and, swirls. A lot of them do have somewhat elements, like literal elements. Of course, ice punches with ice, right? Although, it's not as absurd where he literally makes ice walls and all that stuff. He does have cold hands, obviously. Romeo's, I think, is flowers. K.O is water. He's one of the coolest guys in the game. He's absolutely amazing. Kiriko, I think, is the only one with lights. Molotov is bombs, literally bombs. Steve is, I think, also lights, but he also uses smokes. We'll talk about that later. Socks is paint. literally like ink. Brick is literally bricks. Like he punches you and he breaks through bricks. Like that dude's massive. That dude just destroys you. Voodoo's also light, but he also has some other things. Tiki also light, but he also has some other things. Of course, what are the things? The gameplay, right? You got your main weapons, which is the jab, by flicking the Wii remote or the nunchuck right and left, whatever, right? And then you can upgrade that by being a charge punch, right? By tilting the Wii remote and the nunchuck back where it doesn't hit the sensor. It charges up a punch, which also includes a dodge. If someone throws a high punch and you charge your punch at the same time, it comes to the dodge, where you could counterattack with a charge punch, which does extra damage. Charge punches are great because it charges the meter faster than regular old jabs. And of course, dodging is great too. And this can also be upgraded by pressing the button B, which therefore you go downstairs. Not literally downstairs because it's, legal. Which makes it very interesting because as the game gets progressively harder, the opponent will go up, down, up, down. Like if you were to watch any boxing matches, the coaches will tell their fighters, change levels, go up and down, right? Don't just go up or don't just go down because you need to give something new. Same thing here. You can't dodge a low attack by dodging upwards. No. You're supposed to also go low and dodge that way, which gets really confusing as the game gets harder. Not only that, you also got a haymaker, which usually is a strong punch, which breaks through the next gameplay mechanic, block. Because you could block, right? It blocks a lot of damage, right? But you can upgrade that yourself because how you can charge punches. If you charge a punch at the same time while blocking, you get the parry. You catch their punch and you punch them back. It's really great, right? Although it's a lot harder to do, and I don't have the reaction time for that, as you can tell. And not only that, you have two defensive moves. That's right, defensive moves. One is the sidestep or the dash, right? You dash forward or dash back either to advance in pressure or to go back and recover. And the next one is a throw. If they're too close to you, they got you in a corner, you grab them and you throw them in the corner, right? And this is where the bosses are unique because although every character has a throw, the bosses have another version of their throw, which is if you throw out of range, they get to throw a special attack. Steve teleports in front of you, catches you, and he throws you, right? And he is in the category of if he throws you with this special throw into the corner, it stuns you. Because all the bosses have abilities to stun you. Although the other fighters do, theirs are a little bit more complicated. Voodoo literally throws a hex at you, and if it gets you, you become drummed or dazed, basically. And they get free hits on you. Brick is in the same category as Steve, as he stomps the floor, and if it hits you and throws you in a corner, you get stunned. Sock is a little differently because he doesn't throw a projectile or anything. He literally throws himself at you, which is his own category. He charges his socks, he goes slithers on the floor and gets you, which is so cool because that's the only time we ever see Sock use electricity, right? I like that part of him, even though he uses ink and that's cool in of itself. I just like to see more electricity from Sock, right? But whatever. It's like 14 years old. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna change it. And then of course you got Tiki, who is in the same category as Sock, where he throws himself at you, and if he hits you, you get stunned as well, right? Free hits, right? And you may think, is that really that fun? Yes, it is. It is. When you throw punches and your opponent dodges and you dodge their dodge, that thing gets really cool. Although it seemed less cool in the 360 PS3 version, because if you were to search up the BFR, which is the actual final boss of the game, although you can't unlock him, unfortunately, which is really dumb. But in FaceBreaker K.O Party, there's a party mode where you have the chance to play as him, right? Where you basically either have to beat your opponent or survive against the BFR, right? Where they'd be throwing punches like pa 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 pa. It's so fast, and to me, I don't think that's kind of fun. I like the more goofy mechanics, and of course, you got the breakers, right? It's not FaceBreaker without the breakers. You got Bone Breaker, Ground Breaker, Sky Breaker, and FaceBreaker. Bone Breaker usually consists of one attack that usually doesn't lift someone off the air, although there are some that smash them onto the floor or something like that. It usually involves 1 or 2 hits, and you can't really combo off of that. Then again, you can't combo. Actually, you can combo off of them, especially most of them, like Ice, Molotov, especially Molotov, right? Which we'll get to the special abilities right now. Because, I said most fighters can stun themselves. The easiest ones are Ice and Molotov, as both of them Their special ability includes their bone breakers. If Molotov lands a standing up bone breaker, it stuns you, and if Ice lands a low bone breaker, it also stuns. Others are dodging a dodge or parrying a dodge or something like that, right? But it's a little bit more complicated. Or dashing with charge punch. It's really complicated. So Ice and Molotov are like your go-to easy characters, right? And they're pretty cool. I like them. They're my favorite characters, right? And of course, Groundbreaker is really cool. Krakoa has the best Groundbreaker in the game. Because most of the Groundbreakers, either low or high, you hit them up in the air and then you hit them back down. Krakoa's is the most... It looks so cool. Come on, bro. Skybreaker is a little different, as most of them hit them down and then lift them up into the air. FaceBreaker is basically a Skybreaker, a different version of a Skybreaker, and if you land your final attack, it's a FaceBreaker. And of course, that wins the entire game. And of course, you have 3 knockdowns, right? If you get knocked down 3 times, then you lose, right? But if you were if you've been knocked down twice and you land a FaceBreaker, you automatically win, right? And those are basically the basic mechanics, the basic premise of the game. But the thing that gives it life is the theme songs, right? The soundtrack is amazing, right? You know, all these soundtracks really cool, right? But they give a soundtrack to each fighter. That's right. Each fighter comes out to one of the soundtracks in the game. My favorite is Tiki, Molotov, Voodoo, and Spin. Like, all of them come out to their theme song. And that's really cool. I think that gives a lot more life into the game. And not only does it give a lot more life to the game, Spin is the, you know how most boxers carry their country's flags on their shorts, especially of, you know, the Latin countries, right? Spin, if I'm correct, if I make sure I went through all 2 outfits, right? Because each one has their alternate outfits just in case you play as the same guy. Spin is the only one who carries his country's flag on his shorts. And I think that's really cool. You know, it gives it a lot more life. It makes it, you know, it gives a little bit more personality to Spin, right? It's obviously shown that he loves his country. He's very patriotic, and I like it. It gives a very nice feeling to the character of Spin. That's why Spin is also a really cool character, because they give him a little bit more life, right? And of course, another thing is that in between rounds and at the end of the fight, and in between rounds, they tell you your punch percentage, the amount of punches that you landed on someone, and your best punch. Meaning the punch that obviously does the more damage. Meaning if you spam bone breakers, it's going to say best punch bone breaker, right? And it gives you a little tip like, hey man, maybe you shouldn't get hit as much as you do. That's probably bad. And of course, at the end, after you win, it gives you the literal punch percentage and the amount of punches you punch. Like, you know how a lot of times in boxing afterwards they give you the punch percentage? It just gives it that much more life into it. Gives it a lot more, you know, I hate saying realism because, you know, the game is definitely not realistic. It just gives it so much more, right? Oh, and I forgot BFR. That is another boss, although he's not unlockable. He has a throw where he throws a missile at you, and if it lands, he stuns you. I still don't know how to dodge it, so whatever. So yeah, it gives you the amount of punches you threw and the amount of punches that you landed, and of course your best punch. And I think that's just really cool. Although it doesn't give you, you know, highs and lows, like, you know, in regular boxing, like it gives you, punch percentage that landed, also the amount of body punches, right? It doesn't do that, but then again, it was 2008, so I don't know. But I just think this is really cool. And I like it. All the characters were given life in this game. They have their own personality, especially in the promos that they did have, where they have auditions. That's right, they have auditions with the characters. And of course, you see funny ones like Ice going for sock. It is dumb, but you like it. And of course, Molotov calling out how his character is basically a stereotype. Oh yeah, I'm just a big Russian guy with bombs, right? Oh wow, so original, right? But whatever. And of course, I think Sparrow also went for sock too. And those are like the 2 people who don't talk that much, or if they do, they're not very goofy. So it's just really cool. I just really like the game. That's why I think FaceBreaker K.O Party is one of the best games to come out on the Wii. I get it. Super Smash Bros. Brawl also came out on the Wii, and I just think that's also an amazing game. FaceBreaker just has a lot. It just, the soundtrack, the characters, the things that they give to the characters, the fact that all of them have their own theme song is cool. Although it's only a little snippet of the song, it's still really cool. The soundtrack for the arenas are also really cool too. And they also play it when you put the Final Punch sets. I think that just gives it a little bit more, right? I think it's a 9 out of 10. Although it gets me annoyed and it can go down to a 7 out of 10 because I be losing sometimes. I think this is an amazing game. And if you have a Nintendo Wii and you have the chance to get a copy of FaceBreaker, you should. I think you'll really enjoy this game. And yeah, hope you enjoy this video. The next one will, I don't know, will probably be Halloween themed, most likely. But anyways, like I said, hope you enjoy this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe.
We just got sucked. You know we can see your lips moving, right?
Jam. Show.
Congratulations! You've unlocked stuff!